From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
I'm Victor Hale. It's April 28th, and today we're looking at a date defined by bold risks, some taken in the name of rebellion, and others in the name of discovery.
And I'm Maya. From the deck of an 18th century ship to the cabin of a modern spacecraft, the stories we have today are really about people pushing the limits of what's possible, for better or worse.
Our primary focus is an event that has been immortalized in literature and film. Yet the reality was much more grounded in the harsh legalities of the British Royal Navy. On this day, in 1789, the HMS Bounty was the stage for a mutiny that would change maritime law forever.
It's a fascinating human story, Victor. The Bounty wasn't a massive warship. It was actually a relatively small collier renamed for this mission. Their task was scientific and commercial, to transport breadfruit plants from Tahiti to the West Indies.
Exactly. And because it was rated as a cutter, Lieutenant William Bligh was the only commissioned officer on board. That is a critical detail. He didn't have a detachment of Royal Marines to help him enforce his authority, which created a volatile leadership vacuum.
And that tension boiled over after a 5-month layover in Tahiti. Many of the men had formed deep personal bonds and relationships with the local Polynesians. When it came time to return to the strict, often abrasive discipline of Bligh's command, the psychological shift was too much for some.
Fletcher Christian, who had been a target of Bligh's harsh verbal abuse, led the takeover. They forced Bligh and 18 loyalists into a 23-foot open launch. From a legal standpoint, it was a death sentence. But Bligh's navigation was extraordinary. He sailed over 3,500 nautical miles to safety in Timor.
It really is one of the greatest feats of seamanship in history. While Bligh returned to England to seek justice, Christian and his followers eventually settled on Pitcairn Island. They burned the Bounty to stay hidden, and remarkably, their descendants still live on that island today.
While we are on the subject of remarkable journeys, we have some notable birthdays to celebrate today. These individuals have navigated long careers in the spotlight with the same kind of endurance Bligh showed on the water.
First, we have Jay Leno, born in 1950. He is synonymous with late-night television, having hosted NBC's The Tonight Show for over 2 decades. His work ethic is legendary in the industry. He famously never missed a day of work during his entire tenure.
Leno's impact on the format of American comedy is undeniable. And joining him on the birthday list is the incredibly talented Penélope Cruz, born in 1974. She was the first Spanish actress to win an Academy Award, taking home Best Supporting Actress for her work in Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
She has such a range, Victor. And finally, we have Jessica Alba, born in 1981. While she rose to fame in Dark Angel and Fantastic Four, I find her transition into the business world most impressive. She co-founded The Honest Company, which became a major player in the consumer goods space by focusing on transparency and health.
It is interesting to see how these public figures reinvent themselves. Speaking of major shifts in industry, our fact of the day takes us from the high seas to high orbit.
That's right. On April 28, 2001, Dennis Tito became the world's first space tourist. He was an American businessman who paid roughly $20 million to launch on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft toward the International Space Station.
There was a lot of pushback at the time, particularly from NASA, who were concerned about the safety and professionalism of having a private citizen on the station. But Tito's 8-day trip proved that commercial spaceflight was not just a fantasy.
It really pioneered the entire industry we see today, with companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin. Tito wasn't just a passenger. He was a proof of concept for the idea that space could eventually be accessible to more than just government employees.
Whether it is navigating the Pacific in a small boat or orbiting the Earth, April 28th seems to be a day for those willing to venture into the unknown.
A day of high stakes and new frontiers. I'm Maya.
And I'm Victor. For more, visit deepdive.neuralnewscast.com. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.